What's up, family? It is your man, CRB Jr. here at Big Boss Filmworks.
What up, though? It's Lou.
Big Lou in the house. How you feeling, family?
Man, I'm doing good, brother.
We doing what we do.
Yeah.
Before we get started, you guys, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And comments. Make sure you drop us a comment.
And don't forget the notification bell.
You see what I'm saying? Because we want you guys to always try to give you guys some thought-provoking news or information. Excuse me. But what we're talking about today is on this Money Monday. Obviously, it's these Monday shows are called Money Mondays because we talk about money-related things.
Big time.
And it is America. And I believe to quote President Hoover, who said America's business is business. That the function of America is to do business.
That's right.
And our community needs to embrace that understanding that America's business is business.
America is a business.
America is a business.
Yeah.
So that's a fact. So you quoted, the title of this was, "For every great fortune, there has been a great crime."
Yes, indeed.
We looked into this, and if you guys Google this quote, it also has been interpreted. It supposedly goes back to France some few hundred years ago. For every great fortune began with a great crime.
That's the truth.
And it is quoted to be, it was used in The Godfather, Mario Puzo's classic work. Actually, 50-year anniversary of The Godfather.
50 years.
By far, I am one of those many people who believe it was the best piece of cinema ever done.
Absolutely.
It, became a part of pop culture. When you say "sleep with the fishes," people know what you're talking about.
Right. Going to the mattresses.
When you say "going to the mattresses," Mr. Clemenza, his infamous instructions to Michael: 2 to the head, kid. Don't play around. Make sure you give him 2 to the head.
2 to the head. That's right.
You know what I mean? Or as I like to say, when people be talking crazy, I was like, "Oh, you must have talked to Barzini." You remember the last guy who talked crazy? Talking about, "Oh, you talked to Barzini, huh?" I talked to Barzini. I get that. Okay, you talked to Barzini.
Oh man,
the Pride Before the Fall, right?
Right.
You even got guys in the streets here in Detroit that was calling themselves Mo Green, and
Really?
Yeah. It's a big gangster out of Detroit that labeled himself East Side guy. Called himself Mo Green. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah. With that though, that quote, "For every great fortune," and Puzo's book, which the Godfather movie was based off of, that quote is used. "For every great fortune, there's been a great crime." Horry D. Blazek. H like house, O like Oscar, N like Nancy, O like Olive, R like Ralph, E like Eddie, D. Blazek. Balzac. Supposedly that quote is attributed to. It is a quote that, shall we say, some of the common people or regular people sometimes find.
Yeah.
It makes them uncomfortable.
Yeah, and then a lot of people allude to the fact. They just think it's just bootstrap stuff.
Well, you have to work hard. You have to go to school.
Right.
Get good grades.
Yep.
Save your money. And then you're going to work. Your life's going to work out fine, and that's how you become rich.
Right.
Now, nobody said the job. Some believe that the term job is an acronym for just over broke.
Right.
That no one ever got rich with a job.
Right.
We send our kids to school. The brutal truth is your kids are not being educated in school. They're being indoctrinated.
Yeah.
Outside of mathematics, which is the only true science, because math is math. 2 + 2 is 4. It does take the Earth 365 days to rotate around the sun, sometimes 366 days on what is called a leap year.
That's right.
Right? That's just it. The rest of the stuff is a lot about training people to go to work. School starts at 9, like your job. You get an hour for lunch, like the job. the school is preparing your kids to go to work for someone else.
Mm-hmm. That's
right?
what it is.
You get off. School ends. It's your time.
Yeah.
And the fact that somebody gets to control your day is made normal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Friday, thank God it's Friday.
A hierarchy.
I don't have to work, right? Because it's Friday. Well, do the people who have fortunes not work on Saturdays and Sundays? But anyway, without getting too far off topic, right? So, great fortunes, great crimes.
Great fortunes, great. Yeah.
Way back in Kingpin's Kid Radio days, we did a episode about the Queen of England and the British royal family.
Yes.
Now, for most of you people know, my father, Courtney Brown, shout out to Pop, shout out to the Field Marshal, the Professor.
Mm-hmm.
Him and his partner, his man back in the day, Eddie the Fat Man Jackson, ran what was the largest heroin wing in Detroit during the 70s.
That's right.
Right? Well, does anybody realize that when you see Prince Harry and Prince Charles and Queen Elizabeth II and the British monarchy, that these people are the people who sold more H than anybody in the history of mankind? They took over a country called India.
Mm-hmm.
They planted the poppy seeds. They took the opium from that, and then went to China and set up a massive opium business.
Right.
If you do a quick Google search and you look up Opium Wars, you'll see that there were 2 Opium Wars where the Chinese got angry because their society was full of opium dens and seeing the negative impact of opium, and asked the British to stop bringing in their opium.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The British response was to send in the British Navy and inform the Chinese that that's not going to happen. We're going to keep selling our opium, and if you attempt to stop us, we will kill you.
Yeah.
This was done on an international global level for over 100 years. So if you do, I have been fortunate enough to go to London. I've been to the crown jewels of England.
The crown jewels that were stolen
From all over the world.
over
This is
the
a
world.
diamond from Zimbabwe. This is a ruby from Kenya.
Yeah.
This is a piece of gold the size of your body from South Africa. They have a whole museum in London of the shit that they done stole as they went around the world.
Yeah.
And they stole so much that they had to make a museum to keep track of it all. But they are now the image of magistry and of,
Right.
of aristocracy, right?
Yes.
I ain't hating on them, but be clear, that family's a dope family. Their money came out the Roosevelts, Franklin Roosevelt, FDR, and his uncle, Teddy Roosevelt, both became presidents. If you trace back, the Roosevelts were Dutch. Their family was involved in the Dutch East India Company, also deeply involved in the opium business back in the day. Even today, the people, at Silicon Valley, yes, they talk about Steve Jobs and yeah, and I'm not knocking I ain't knocking nobody's hustle. Your iPhone is made in a basically slave concentration camp in China.
Yeah.
What the history books will write about that these companies and all of this technology is being made basically at gunpoint labor.
Yeah.
Because if the market was allowed to float freely, your iPhone wouldn't be $1,200, it'd be $12,000. But they got to rip off the people in the Congo for the cobalt and not pay them for the minerals.
Right.
Because none of this technology works without the cobalt that comes out of the Congo. But they don't want to pay for that cobalt.
Right.
So they want 12-year-old little African kids to mine it for a penny a day. Then they take the cobalt and send it to China and make deals with the same Chinese that they mad at.
Right.
To have your iPhones and your technology assembled so that it can go to market in the U.S. at a price point which the American consumer can afford.
And then once it comes over to the States and to, let's say, the UK and spots similar, the Silicon Valley, they do research on how to get you hooked on these apps on certain platforms that you may use. You may find yourself going to it every 15 seconds, and they I mean, it's like it becomes like a habit, like a drug.
And you're right, because some of the bigwigs in Silicon Valley for their families have no tech days, where they don't let their kids use the phone or get on the computer, because they know that they partnered with the same people who make the slot machines in Vegas to figure out how to make your screen very attractive and appealing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of gaming and gambling and great fortunes.
Yeah. Great fortunes, great crimes.
Our past president, Mr. Trump, owned a few casinos. The good people who own MGM and Harrods and Little Caesars, these publicly traded companies that you guys' 401ks are invested in.
Right.
So, we've been joking that us brothers in the street getting a couple dollars, we wasn't nothing but ham thieves.
That's right.
And if we ain't got a great fortune, it's because we didn't commit a big enough crime.
That's right.
You know what I mean? But wow, we were talking also about a great show. We did a episode called The Black Ozarks. Kind of just drawing some parallels to back in my day, working for my dad and doing a little money laundering to keep the family business going. And great show that just finished on Netflix.
Yeah. Netflix had Ozark.
So if you guys didn't follow that show, I highly recommend you go to Netflix and check it out. Started season 1.
Start the beginning.
They just did the final episode. The final season just came out last week. And it's the story of the Bird family, Marty and Wendy Bird. He's like a financial advisor. I won't tell the whole story. Gets tied up with his partner. Get tied up. They're doing some money laundering for the Mexican cartels, and it leads to just a whole domino chain of events.
Yeah, exactly.
His wife eventually draws in the wife and the kids and everybody else, and they have to leave Chicago. They go down to what's called the Ozarks, down to the Missouri, right?
Yeah.
And they are attempting to talk about the realities of how American family fortunes are made and how quickly you go from the crime family to the legitimate aristocracy.
Exactly.
So without telling the movie, you remember the line?
Or you can do a spoiler alert, and then go into whatever you want to go into.
Well, when old boy tells Wendy Bird, who's the wife of the guy, the main money launderer, and he's at the, you're not going to be like the Kennedys.
Right.
And she was like, why not?
Why not?
Right. And for y'all who don't know, our President John Fitzgerald Kennedy, his father, Joseph Kennedy, was a bootlegger.
Yeah.
They made a fortune. He wasn't just a bootlegger. He was a straight gangster. He was involved with that whole Irish mob crew. King Solomon out of Boston, Lucky Luciano up in New York. He did business with all those people.
Yeah.
And the monies, he's also was famous for his Wall Street manipulation. And Joe Kennedy was rewarded for being a big-time gangster by being appointed ambassador to England and then put in charge of the SEC, because I believe when they put him in charge of keeping track of the Wall Street crooks, their logic was, well, you got to put a crook in charge to catch a crook.
Right? Right.
So, and now the Kennedy family is American royalty.
Yeah.
And rightfully so, because their great fortune did come from a great crime. Mm-hmm. He was Irish Catholic, and he took his money and sent his kids to Harvard, to the home of the white elite.
That's right.
And now when you say Kennedys, you don't think of gangsters. Mm-hmm. You don't think of prostitution and racketeering. You think of John Kennedy and the Kennedy School of Public Policy at Harvard.
Right.
And RFK Airport in Dallas and JFK Airport in New York, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But be not confused. That family's fortune began with a great crime.
Yes.
And the Bird family in Ozark, same situation. And it's just, it says a whole lot. And we'll go back in. So I'm going to give you guys all a chance to check out Ozarks. And we're going to come back and do some real in-depth stuff. Because, Brother Lou, you turned me on to this show.
All right.
Cousin Ron in the house.
Ron.
Famous Cousin Ron. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ronald Young, manager of the family businesses. Come on in. Come on in, Cousin
man.
Ron.
Get on TV.
We're going to make you, what you say, we're going to make you famous.
I'll make you famous.
Come on. What you got for me? What my man Frank White say to Jimmy Jump at the hotel when he first got out? You know how I love money.
Oh, you shouldn't have.
You shouldn't have.
Money. I love money.
Yeah, I love money. Because this is a Money Monday family.
Money Monday.
This is a Money Monday. And that's why Cousin Ryan is my favorite. Do that and take care of the next payroll, though, when they come back up. All right. Say hi to the family out there. Cousin Ryan, manager for the family business Lifetime. Hey, Ryan, has life been good since you hooked up with the Brown family?
Absolutely.
All right, beloved.
All right, brother.
All right.
Take care.
All right. It's real, family. We doing this here. This ain't this. We are not studio entrepreneurs.
Right.
It is happening. It does happen. We ain't just talking.
That's right.
And yeah, so many times along the way, you know. Now, of course, at my age, I give not two damns of a care. But the moral judgments that, especially back in the day, about what the family did and how I got to live the life that I lived, you know. And really, we were just ham thieves, man.
Compared to
the real great fortunes that are out there being made, and the great crimes that are being committed for those great fortunes.
That's right.
You know, and then they make the Eddie Jacksons and Frank Matthews and Big Meaches out to be the worst thing in the world.
The Purdue's.
You know what I'm saying? Purdue's and that oxycodone. They hit like $100 billion licks. But then they get all carried. BMF made $250 million. Well, hold on, though. You say they made $100 billion, and they not doing a day.
Not a day.
Opioid crisis gone crazy. You say Meach and them made a couple $100 million. Mm-hmm. Now he doing 20. How that one work?
How it work?
He ain't got a great fortune because he didn't hit a great crime. The Purdue's committed a great crime, therefore they have a great fortune.
You can't look at your TV for, let's say you look at network TV right now for about 30 minutes. You'll see about 10 drug commercials within 30 to 40 minutes of watching television right now.
Yeah. Well, again, getting back to Ozarks, they go into that too. Again, I'm going to give you guys a chance before we do some really in-depth stuff. The money in politics, how this family, as they ascend up the ladder, understanding how money works, and once you buy the politicians, you can make what you do go away because the politicians control the law enforcement, and the people at the top of the food chain don't care about none of this shit.
That's right.
Except keeping their power.
That's right.
And before people get all crazy about, what do you mean there's some just hardworking people, then everybody who's prospered committed a crime. If your auntie does hair and gets her money in cash and does not report it on her taxes, that is a crime.
That's right. Think about the 90s, the bootleg man with the DVDs and the CDs.
Because it's America, and that's why don't nobody trip out about it, because in America, I've always told people the one really thing that is cool about this country, and if you travel, you'll get appreciation. There's so much corporate and business crime in America that if you just ham thieves like us and you hit a lick and get 100,000 there, 100,000 there, they don't even got time to worry about you.
That's right.
You done set up, you've been selling barbecue on that corner every summer for 20 years. You ain't paid one damn in sales. You've been selling $20 barbecue dinners with impunity. taking down $500-$600 a day. You know good damn well, if I look at your income tax returns, you are not reporting those barbecue sales. Then some of y'all buying them damn bridge cards, 50 cents on the dollar.
Oh, come on.
Not only that, not only is you selling your rib dinners and then you ain't paying taxes on it, but you ain't never thought, I ain't no criminal. I know because you go to church and you tithe on Sunday. So do I. So do I. I go to church and I tithe on Sundays also. But, okay, you buy your bridge card, 50 cents on the dollar. That's a crime. Mm-hmm. Then you take that money, you go to Sam's Club with that bridge card that you bought 50 cents on the dollar from your cousin who sells XYZ in the street, who always gets access to these bridge cards. So now you're involved in a conspiracy. I'm just being real.
Yeah.
Because you know your cousin, your cousin or your man, your sister's nephew, they always coming by his place of business with all type of things. Mainly, and sometimes they barter this bridge card, this food stamp card, for currency.
For currency, yeah.
Which you have become quite comfortable because you're like, I need to buy a case of ribs for my rib hustle, right?
Right.
So the case of ribs costs $100. But if I do it this way, the case of ribs costs $50.
$50.
So I get to not only make money when I sell my ribs dinner, $20 a dinner, it's double because I'm only paying half for the ribs from the beginning. So be careful before we start throwing stones, passing judgment. Because, see, ain't nobody's crime a crime to them.
Yeah.
So I'm like, was I just saying off camera? I'm looking back, well, what did we do wrong? We was in a house, nigga knocked on the door. We said, give me two. We gave him two. We figured out he was going to keep coming back, so we said we should buy a lot of it. So we got to keep running back and forth because he's going to keep knocking on the door. We ain't asked him to knock on the door. Right. There was a lot of doors he could have knocked on. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But once you discover this person is going to keep knocking on this door, and in fact, he's going to tell somebody else.
That's right.
You should go knock on that door.
That's right.
But again, so everybody doing whatever they're doing, it's never a great crime. So when your auntie again or your uncle with that outside barbecue pit that also is cutting hair in the basement.
Yeah.
I mean, also got 12 different lawnmowers with trailers and 50 different landscaping accounts, all which are paid in cash. And once again, I bet if I look at your income tax returns, but you've been doing this for a long time, you've built up a nice business, built up a nice bank account. It is a small fortune.
Yeah.
But there was a crime.
What about the Catholic Church?
Oh, well, now we're talking about gangsters.
Well, I went to Catholic school, St. Mary's of Redford. Big up everybody, SMR. Rustics, baby.
How at you, man?
But I remember walking away, and I thought this when I was young because, gambling was illegal. I looked at the bingo cash prizes and you can win a new set of tires or what have you. Now, how big of a crime is that, folks?
Well, you're talking about the people who sanctioned the slave trade.
See?
Greatest business in the history of business.
Right.
When you talk about great fortunes, right? Just a little historical note. Mm-hmm. In the beginning of 1860, at the beginning of the Civil War, the average slave value, a healthy black male slave, went for about $600. It was $600, 1860 monies. That'd be about $60,000.
$60,000
today's money, right? Mm-hmm. There were 4 million Africans held in bondage in the American South. If you do the math on that, it comes out to about $4 billion. If you add up all the value of the railroads, the banks, timber, every other business in America, it comes at that time, it was like $2 billion. The slave economy was twice the size. There was more money in slaves than everything else in the country combined. The people behind that stuff are the people who started schools like Harvard, Georgetown, Brown University, Dartmouth, the schools we call the Ivy League. Those fortunes were funded from slavery. A pretty great crime.
Yeah, huge.
A pretty black woman in 1860 in the brothels of New Orleans, value was about $2,000, about $200,000 today's money. So if you could buy and barter and trade 10 black women, you were dealing about $2 million today's money. Yeah. So, and of course, that slave industrial money, banking money, that went all the way through the U.S. economy, all the way from the Mississippi Valley, all the way up through the New York bankers and insurance company, Brown Brothers, the people who started Fleet Bank. I believe the Boston Celtics play at what's called the Fleet Center.
Okay.
It's named after Fleet Bank, started by the Brown Brothers, who were the major insurers and slave ship builders of their day. Yeah. So, we just throw this stuff out there for conversation, family.
Yeah.
Again, because if you watch this show that we're talking about, Ozarks, it's really saying a lot about society, about how wealth and power is accumulated. Mm-hmm. You do got to start your grind. We're not suggesting that anybody go break the law.
Yeah.
Because I am here to tell you that as you rise in your business career, you will find yourself talking to your lawyers and your accountants, and you won't be trying to break the law. You won't. You'll be having conversations of, let's not break the letter of the law, but be damned the spirit of the law.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you will find yourself paying lawyers and accountants because you know what the law intended, but you don't want to break the law, but you ain't trying to give up all your money either.
That's right.
And there's some more serious than others about not giving the government that money. But it's America. America. Business is business.
Business is business. Money never sleeps.
Money never sleeps. So yeah, and be easy on us, ham thief brothers. We ain't did nothing. Made a couple dollars, figured out how not to be hungry.
That's right.
We wasn't causing no real trouble. We ain't here. I keep telling y'all, in the big picture, we ain't do nothing. We was nothing but nuisances. And I know it seemed like because the guy with the Benz and the gold watch and the vacation
Cadillac,
and he had the bar throwing some money up in the air, he seemed like he raising hell. We ain't hitting no shit. No. That's the big picture with the kind of money these people are dealing with. No. We are not the great crime nor the great fortune.
That's right.
And I know it seemed like a great fortune because maybe we ham thieves seemed like we was hitting on something because everybody else around was eating Vienna sausage and crackers and we had a ham. But trust me, that's about the right analogy. We was just ham thieves in a neighborhood full of people eating crackers. We learned how to walk down aisle 6, put a pack of ham in our pocket, swiftly avoid the cameras, and next thing you know. And some of us were clever enough to even be getting honey baked ham.
Yeah, there you go.
That was already sliced.
Right.
With the honey drippings all on top. And some actually get still a honey baked ham and get some sides. That's as good as we get.
That's about it.
That's good as we get. We ain't hitting no shit. We need to give ourselves a break on that.
Yeah.
And ask ourselves, who are these great crimes and great fortunes, and who got them? Mm-hmm. And we really, we got all these Don Divas and Feds, and we're gonna start going into some of these stories. We're gonna go really do a deep dive into Bumpy Johnson's story. It's been known. Talking again about how our culture, the original. Don Diva did a great story on this. Shout out to Kevin Childs. Shout out to Tony Childs, the whole Don Diva crew. Shout out to speaking of Don Diva, brother Cavario.
Cavario, yeah.
We don't get
big up Cavario.
All that the politics of it all. Shout out to the whole family though. Great guys.
That's right.
In my book, all around.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, shout out to the Childs family for sure. Bumpy Johnson, the original Avon Boxdale, the guy that they made The Wire off of, You know, I'm going through this. Brother Kwame Kilpatrick home. They had a great story on Don Diva on Kwame. Kwame probably shouldn't have posed for this photo.
Yeah.
But we're gonna do a dive into that too. But all these stories that and Feds covered all of these guys. Shout out to what's our crew from Feds?
Oh yeah, DeMayo, Black,
Brother Black, Sister
Una Snipe.
Una Snipe. Shout out to that whole team at Feds. Gonna start giving these guys that Don Diva history and Feds history, because all this content that these guys were the beginning of it, man.
This was the genesis.
Yeah, Feds magazine and Don Diva. These guys were the precursor.
Yeah.
To Vlad, to
Al.
Shout out Alan Bradley, aka Al Prophet over there at American Dope. Shout out Scott Bernstein, the whole team. But these guys at Feds and Don Diva, really bringing our urban street stories to the public. Yeah, they were like some of the architects of that.
That's right.
And we often consider some of these people, again, that they committed such great crimes and great fortunes. And again, they did, considering our economy and our situation. Mm-hmm. But we really, family, we need to think on the big picture. Did any of these guys, Michael Conception, great story. In fact, Al met him. Big shout out to L.A.
Okay.
You got Guy Fisher. Shout out, Guy Fisher came home not too long ago.
Oh, okay.
That guy came home finally. Another guy that they covered, we got to do an update on Harry L., founder of Death Row Records.
Oh,
yeah. He came home. But all these guys, which have become street legends, and rightfully so. So many great stories about our people and what so many of us attempted to do to create a fortune.
Yeah.
But again, our scope of a fortune was very skewed because we just didn't know. Mm-hmm. There's only so much the ham thief know. When you come from a community where everybody got eating crackers, it takes a minute to figure out how
to get some meat.
And what to do with it when you get it. Mm-hmm. So just some food for thought, right? Check out Ozarks.
Check out Ozark.
Even though Netflix don't give us a dime, we're going to give them a shout out. Maybe one day we will break some bread with them.
Right. I think one day we'll be hollering at them.
Film, yeah. So all good. You got anything else, Brother Luke?
Check out Flyers Plus Graphics on Instagram. That's my graphic design moniker. We got the Making of the Mafia coming soon. Our Patreon and Motown Mafia Part 2.
You hear that, Al? We coming at you. We're about to do our part. Yeah, it's going down.
Yeah.
It's going down. Yeah. Who else? Weather about to break. Shout out to Uncle Butch, a.k.a. Tommy Sharp, the Black Dispatch.
We got to hit the road again, man. Hit me up.
Don't think it's over. It ain't over.
That's right.
Shout out to my beloved brother down there in South Florida. Shout out to Eddie Baby.
Shout out, man.
Shout out to the whole Jackson
Baby.
To the whole Jackson family.
That's right.
Always love and respect. So, all good. Motown Mafia. Money Mondays. For every great fortune, there has been a great crime.
A1.
Holla at you, man. It was time to really tell a great untold Detroit story, because it kind of covers Detroit at its zenith.
Very interesting story.
We decided that we were going to make a movie.
All right, Rich Rossi with you with Motown Mafia. I'm with Courtney
Lewis Stevens,
Courtney Brown,
Courtney Brown Jr.
And Alan Al Prophet Bradley.
And this is an entrepreneurial, inspirational story too, because again, I'm a real estate retail guy. That's what my skill set is. But I'm a businessman, so I was like, we're gonna do it. Sometimes when you got a dream, you won't have all the answers on how you're gonna do what you're gonna do.
What made this one unique was not so much the crime, but the intertwining with Detroit's history and the Motown era and kind of the economic decline of Detroit. And it's really the story of a family. And from some perspectives, it's has a happy ending, like you said. for others. It didn't have a happy
ending, right?
What's happening, family? It's your man, Courtney Robert Brown Jr., still live, West Africa, Dakar, Senegal. We're here to talk about a little bit today, which was our follow-up project after we had came out with the award-winning book, Motown Mafia, Memoirs of a Kingpin's Kid. I don't know if everyone knows, but we actually did another book that wasn't related to the story of my father and Eddie, and that was Mind Right, Money Right. It was kind of our way of giving back. I wanted to share some of the insights and some things that allowed me to have the business success I've had and how that came from, because it's all about exposure, family. You know, when you think bigger, when you've seen bigger, you think bigger. When you know better, you do better. So as I'm sitting here in West Africa, chapter 1 in this book is called When We Were Kings. And I don't know, for you, a lot of people out there, family, may not know that by academia, by schooling, I am a historian. So I've always had a great interest in where I am, where I come from, and what I'm about, you know. In fact, just recently, I took that Ancestry.com test. They send you a little kit, and you send them a little saliva sample, and they can actually tell you, family, where you come from here. So, like, I'm 60% Nigerian, a little bit from Ghana, a little bit from what is now Angola. So, because I think, you know, we talk about in this chapter, When We Were Kings, if we understood that every African American has a cousin and family member here on the continent of Africa, likely in South America, if the brothers and sisters here in Africa understood that they got cousins, we'd put this thing together and we'd be getting money together. And once we figure out that whether you're in South Carolina or Senegal, where I'm at, we're all in the same boat together. So, you know, I was reviewing the book, When We Were Kings. You know, we talk about the black man Mansa Musa was the richest man that the world has ever known, and that's according to Forbes magazine, right? So if you're not hip on Mansa Musa, Google up that name. His empire was right here where I'm sitting now. And just to kind of inspire you, because it wasn't that long ago that a black man was king of this land and controlled the world's controlled the world's gold, silver, salt, and was regarded as, he was the richest man of his time and the richest man the world has ever known. And if we understood that we come from kings, that's not just something that the Hotep brothers and sisters be saying, but it's the truth. So we can all do a little bit better. But in these times we live now, man, with all this going on, you know, this George Floyd thing, the police shooting us, the things and struggles that's going over here on the continent, and really just we as people of color all over the world, the situation we find ourselves in. You know, give this book a read, man. I'm not just saying as a plug. In fact, I think I'm going to do a little promotion when I get back, really make it accessible. It'll give you some real insights, really be able to connect the dots. So that's Getting Off Zero, named after Brother Ray Tatum's company down in Atlanta. You know, we hooked up about, that was in 2007, and Big Boss Filmworks and Getting Off Zero have been doing business together ever since. And our theory is simply this, brothers and sisters. If you get your mind right, you'll get your money right. And once you get your money right, you can come enjoy some of this beautiful thing that we call planet Earth. So holla at your man. Again, 10-year anniversary of Big Boss Filmworks. We are really, really happy and proud. We thank you guys so much. Check out our catalog. Getting Off Zero, Mind Right, Money Right. You want more of the real intel, detailed stories on how Pops and Eddie Jackson, the Fat Man, put it down in the 70s. Pick up the book, Motown Mafia, Memoirs of a Kingpin's Kid. You got Amazon. Check out the doc, Motown Mafia, the story of Eddie Jackson and Courtney Brown. And also, our newest works, Motown Mafia, Big Man on Campus. Give us a shout. 10-year anniversary, Big Boss Filmworks, bigbossfilmworks.com. Salute, peace, and thank you all. I'm out.